Okay, this evening I'm going to do the eighth presentation, which now gets into my alma mater, Foxcroft, in Middleburg, Virginia. Foxcroft School, because there's the Foxcroft Academy. This is Foxcroft School in Middleburg, Virginia. Um, so this is about an hour away from Washington, D.C. There's a variety. There's Miss Porter's, Madera School. I forget, there's several of the girls, because these are the girls' boarding schools. Foxcroft is pretty much known for being a favorite of the robber baron heiresses. The Astors, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, Rockefellers, I mean, all of them. The list goes on and on and on and on. Um, so this is a good case study of how the ruling elite have dropped the ball and their Marie Antoinette living has left a void, and that void has been taken up by social climbers and woke factions. With Foxcroft, you'll see they're completely woke. They are. When I was at after I left Foxcroft and at GW, they told me, "Oh yeah, that's known for lesbians." I was like, "Oh really?" I didn't realize, but yeah, effectively, a lot of girls that I knew are lesbians. So I mean, that's neither here nor there. But so I guess it's no surprise that the school has also, really been taken over by LGBT woke factions. Um, so the this is my eighth presentation. It started with what is the deep state, the first video, and I kind of get into basically the ideologies um, that lays the foundation of what's going on politically. What is the deep state? And well, the deep state is really just a bunch of frat boys with zipper problems and sorority sisters who can't stop stabbing each other in the back and just are interested in shopping. So socially, that's the deep state. Now, in commercial arenas and the political arenas, uh, it's a little bit different, but it's still the social institutions are supposed to be um, served by the political and the economic institutions. I mean, they exist to serve the people, which is the social institutions, raising children, the cycle of life, if you will. So the sixth video got into feminist and socialites changing roles and ideologies. Seventh was socialization and education in children and the art narcissism epidemic, basically showing how our culture, good and bad, and across, it doesn't matter where in the world you are, what religion, it's all very, very, very similar. And it's all been based on power over and destroy or be destroyed, oppression, domination, etc. And if the human race is going to survive, we got to change that. So today, I am going to get into my mater, Foxcroft, and first I'm going to look into a case study of the Mellon family. Andrew Mellon was the original banking. He was the one who was blamed for the crash of 29. He had been the Treasury Secretary. So, I mean, this is also all of these people that get into government, basically they're fall guys, because most of what happens the foundation was laid long before they came in to office. So, and the faster the revolving door becomes with these positions, the less responsibility, if you will, and these people have over what's happening because they're just a cog in a system. And really, crux of the matter is we have no leadership. We have no long-term vision, either within the political institutions, the elected officials, or the ruling elite. Everybody's is just a free-for-all. And the robber barons, they will see here how this cycle, the exploit and then ease your conscience with charity, and then exploit and ease your conscience with charity is not working out. So this video gets into who funded presidential elections. I mean, in the past 30 years, there has been $1 trillion wasted, absolutely wasted, on election campaigns. Because all it does is pay for a bunch of idiots and their groupies to, go across the country, have extramarital affairs, and lots of parties. I mean, I saw that. Bobby Kennedy's campaign, that's a perfect case study. We'll get into it a little bit later. And some one might argue, oh, well, this gives, a foot in the door for a lot of people to get into the political arena. It gets them something to put on their resume. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. You got a bunch of groupies, then that's how they get their foot into the door in Washington and start their career in the government agencies, and their loyalty lies with the party and their pocketbooks instead of any kind of dedication to the country or the people or the government. And it's that this is the way that the federal government agencies have just been infected with, sin vergüenzas. It just, Washington, boggles your mind how anybody who's not working the system, or, how shall I say, yeah, working the system and cashing in, is considered an idiot and considered a chump. I mean, and everybody, I mean, I've got cases against everybody under RICO. Why can't I get the district attorney, Janine Pito, to start initiating lawsuits? And Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's get you. Had the whole committee, you guys do this all the time, a big hearing in Congress about what's going on. Oh my God, look at the nonprofits. This is a scam. These things, I'm going to get in, show the case study here. We got to get rid of this. And it's not, I mean, it's not difficult because I got all the evidence. Boom. I mean, this is an atomic bomb for Washington. As I say, the good thing about my atomic bomb is not going to leave any nuclear fallout of radiation, and people can come right away. People who are dedicated to serving the American people and the government and the country, they can come. It won't, because believe me, I remember very well when I was in a GW, it was International Political Science class, one of the few teachers who had a brain. And he was saying, wait a second, with all this Star Wars stuff and this plan to evacuate Washington if we get under nuclear attack, is ridiculous. I can't get out of this city in rush hour traffic for the life of me. How am I going to get out in 30 minutes? If everybody's leaving. And also, quite frankly, I prefer to be at ground zero because to survive, you're going to have a horrible, horrible death and life before you die, um, with radiation poisoning. And that's why Foxcroft, you guys should be concerned because you're just an hour away. You will get the fallout real quick. Um, so the issue also, I was looking because everybody talks about this $36 trillion debt the Americans have. Yeah, it's I think this is $100 trillion in debt globally. Everybody. So where's the money? If there's debt, there's somebody on the other side holding the credit. I mean, that's basic accounting 101. So where's the money? Follow the money. Yeah, so we got to get rid of so much of this waste. I mean, Elon Musk just touched the tip of the iceberg. And I'm sure, if yeah, Trump and his Wall Street buddies of New York, I'm not popular amongst them for obvious reasons, because they're going to get their little seats are going to be burned as well. Going to be lighting some fires. So, yeah, billionaires versus trillionaires. So that kind of gets into all the greed and money that's just, it is incredible when you start getting into the numbers and the quantities of nonprofits that are just milking, I mean, all this money going to the executive board, then or the executive committee, the management, um, then you have a whole board of trustees, and you'll see none of them, if you go into ProPublica and the IRS filings, so none of them are getting any money. And I'm sure everybody thinks, well, if I'm not getting any, money from serving on this board of the nonprofit, well, then, nobody can come after me for anything. No, I mean, they do it for prestige and not the money, because then it's, you cash in elsewhere. It's a kind of a derivative benefit that you get from that. But yeah, you are benefiting and you are responsible for what the frick's going on in these nonprofits. So people who think, oh, I just sit there and look pretty at the board meetings, I'm a piper. So this is, keep on going back to the Chomsky propaganda model, um, and to try and sift through where the actors of the deep state, because you got it all over the place. And I keep on, because it starts in schools, with the schools, prep schools, the universities and academia, the Ivy League colleges. I mean, they're overlapping, but because the Ivy League colleges are kind of at the apex. However, that, as Jordan Peterson points out, all of these schools have destroyed their business model, because it used to be, going there, a diploma from there used to be like a guarantee that that you knew something, and that you had some sort of morals and standards that you had been taught in, and not just academia. I mean, all the liberal the art schools, we've got to go back to that, learning literature, not just American literature, but this is American, the United States, so this is our country. So of course you're going to have more of a focus on American literature, but and then English literature as well, because that's where most of our literature comes from. But you know, everything, all sorts of different literature, the arts, an age and you just don't go to school, burn the midnight oil so you can get that diploma, get straight A's, cum laude, and you know, get a good job and punch the clock and become another cog in this house of cards. And no questions, just yeah, follow the leader of the cult and drink the Kool-Aid and pass out Kool-Aid. So here, of course, I'm getting into the prep schools. These are all of the different factions that are part of the propaganda model. They are using these institutions to promote their agendas. And of course, how do you promote an agenda? It's through your argumentation and your propaganda, espousing that this is, for whatever reason, this is a good idea. You got to convince everybody, the community, that, yeah, what you are proposing is a good idea. And, rightfully so, everybody has a right to promote their own group and their own interests, but don't make up bullshit. That you don't have the right to do. And you don't have the right to gaslight people. And you also don't have the right to come into somebody else's country and say, I'm taking over. Because the Latinos particularly have said it to my face. And actions speak louder than words. I mean, my whole case against the IMF and IMF Family Association is based on that. And all the damn restaurants. I mean, I just need a frickin' lawyer who knows what the hell he's doing and doesn't believe he's God's gift to the world. And listen to me and make sure that you don't screw up on procedural crap. I mean, they get you on that shit. Like, that's 101. And even the high priced ones are getting caught in that trap. So this gets into the case study of Foxcroft School. You have the Mellon family here and the Mars family here. Mars Inc. of the candy. So with the Mellons, Andrew Mellon, so Andrew Mellon is the grandfather. Well, Andrew Mellon had two sons, I believe. It's in the family tree on Ancestry. So anyway, Paul, one of the brothers, he took over the banks. That didn't go too well. But then Paul Mellon, he was like a philanthrope, and he had his horse farm in Virginia, and he lived in the Middleburg, Virginia area. And he is the father of Tim Mellon, who gave $75 million to Trump for the 2024 elections and $25 million to Bobby Kennedy. And in the past 30 years, he's given, I think it was $300 million to election campaigns. But at the same time, so he's, this is banking, and Tim Mellon, he has a book, Pan Am Capitan. So he was a pilot. He got his pilot's license, but he also ran Pan Am, and he, says his memoirs, Pan Am Capitan, and it'll tell you all about how great he is and what a great, job he did with Pan Am, even though they went under. So yeah, like, even when they're not success stories, these people tell you what a great success they are. I mean, obviously the banking systems are not in great shape, but he's not noticing. He just keeps on throwing money at the politicians, going, fix it, fix it, fix it. This is precisely how we end up in a dictatorship. the ruling elite, like, I don't know what it is, put somebody in there who's going to fix it. And then finally somebody does step in and go, okay, you got a shit show here and I'm taking over. Now you're going to be, a benevolent dictatorship, and Trump, he has, taken some good actions. Um, he's a bit wishy-washy on the tariffs, and I mean, it's like, okay, let's give him a chance to play his hand on that one. I mean, I'm willing to, okay, let's, do you actually have a long-term plan, or is just this another, well, we'll try this and see if it works, because that, then you can't argue your case. um it's going to bite you in the ass. So, I'm willing to, anybody who says, I know what we got to do and this is where it's going to go. Okay, fine. But you go down that road, you assume responsibility if it doesn't work out so good. Uh, so as I say, we'll see, because yeah, there is a huge issue with the tariffs, and I'm very much free trade, that whole thing. However, I'm sure there are things that Trump wouldn't agree with me, that, like with Latin America, I saw that in Colombia with the textile industry. I mean, you can't get good clothes or the textile things that are made in Medellin, they're exported and then re-imported into Colombia as luxury goods, and you can't find decent clothing because all of that stuff is exported. So there's a lot of things that are unjust in the system, and if you don't look at it from a holistic perspective, of course your solutions are not going to be effective in the long term and just create more problems. So of course, just like this is, this model, that's what I'm saying, it's a case study, because this repeats itself and re-repeats itself. So here you got the robber baron, it can be steel, this is banking. um However they made their money with the Mars family, it's a bit after the robber barons. um they made their money from candy. Well, obesity and sugar addiction, that's creating a whole bunch of problems. So again, but you have the same dynamics going here. Okay, so predatory businesses, exploitative businesses, how do they ease their conscience? With a foundation that promotes arts, humanities, and education. Go on to the Mellon Foundation. I mean, they are promoting everything woke under the sun. So their assets, the endowment is about 8 million in assets, 300 million they give to programs each year. So see, pushing, they're funding the propaganda of the woke. Yeah, they're giving money, the same amount. Well, okay, not the same amount of money, because the 300 million was 30 years for the election campaign. So, but they're giving money saying, please fix the problems that my nonprofit is creating in society. You know, like wasted money, wasted money. And then the melons, you Google that, the charities, they're all over the place. I mean, and some of them are 100, 150, 200, 300K. But there's a whole slew of them. So I think, let's see, there was Bank of New York Mellon. Okay, that was a big one. Bank of New York Mellon Corp Foundation, that had 41.5 million in assets. So all of these foundations are providing jobs to seat warmers. Really, it's just all going in to pay for the people who work in these foundations. I would say, like, ballpark figure, we're talking 80% easy is just to for the people to work in these places, sit at a desk. And you know, some of the CEOs, it's like 3 million, 2 million, $1 million is their salary. It is an entire scam. See, if all of this money was used towards producing real jobs, you know, the jobs that contributed to our economy and to our society in a positive way, then we wouldn't have the $30 trillion, the 36 trillion in debt, and all of these, you know, unending social problems, no end that we cannot finance um, any way you cut it. So, you know, focus on producing, giving people decent jobs, you know, that are producing positive outcomes for the country. And a lot of them will get off all the goddamn drugs themselves. It's, you know, the demoralization of the rural areas. They're just get people working and productive, and a lot of the social fallout will, you know, dissipate. If not, I mean, well, miraculously disappear. Nothing's going to miraculously disappear, but at least we can head towards a trend of downward instead of skyrocketing. Um, so then Bunny Mellon, she's got her foundation there with her contribution because piece of work, a fascist piece of work that she was, she promoted, you know, liberal causes, um, which is not so, it's not uncommon, this paradox, because of course they're easing their conscience of the how selfish and narcissistic and backstabbing they've been in their lives with, you know, charity work. And this has been shown. I mean, the development community has recognized this for a very long time, that this, you know, Catholic, very Catholic tradition of go and stab them in the back all day long, all week long, and then the Sunday you show up at church and you put a, you know, big wad of money in the basket, so everybody in the community will say, oh, look how generous he is, look how nice, or she. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book. It's just the wads of money get bigger and bigger, and the crimes get badder and badder. Um, so yeah, and so one of my favorite with Bunny Mellon is she. There was, I think it was almost $100,000 that of her donations that went to pay for John Edwards' mistress. Yeah, and that when that came out, that his campaign went and disappeared. Yeah, so guys, that's not a good idea to take your mistress along with you on your campaign trail. Somebody might find out. So, then, yeah, Tim Mellon, the federal election campaigns, 300 million he's donated. So then we have Catherine Conover, who is his sister. Because Bunny Mellon was their stepmother. Their biological mother died. I think Tim was around 9 or so, so he would have remembered more his mother than Catherine. I think Catherine was still a bit of a toddler. And Tim Mellon, I mean, I love it. In his memoirs, it starts out like, my sister didn't talk to me for the first 5 years of my life, and I think that was maybe good. Something like that. It was like, okay, there's definitely a contentious relationship between his only sibling. Um, so obviously they're not too friendly. But this is par for the course. I mean, this is with the upper crust, it's backstabbing witchery all the way. I mean, it is what it is. At least that's what I agree with Tucker Carlson. It's like, yeah, my mother hates me. She hates me. Doesn't want anything to do with me. She doesn't want anything to do with me. I mean, with my mom, it was worse than that. Actively want to destroy your father and her children. So just petty jealousies. But that is the world of the upper crust, and I mean, when people start all of this human rights stuff, I'm like, are you people freaking kidding me? Like, start in your homes first, particularly, particularly Ethel Kennedy. What a piece of work, and her children are just following in her footsteps. So, yeah, so there's Catherine Conover. She has this island press center for resource economics. I mean, you'd think she would read my mail and my emails to her if she's interested in economics. I don't know, just throw some more money at a PhD and think that they're gonna save the world. So let's see, she's donated about 1 million to the Democrats. So see, her brother is donating 300 million to Republicans while she's donating 1 million to Democrats. Now her husband was Senator John Warner. Now he was the gold digger. He got, I mean, this is the typical, when he got, 4 kids she gave him, or three, maybe, 3 children. And he gets I forget, it was like the $5 million house when they divorce. Well, why is he getting something from her assets? Those were her assets. I mean, he didn't contribute to any of that. I mean, that's a typical of how, where you're seeing it on the flip side of the men who are marrying for money and ending up with stuff that they're not entitled to. And he was, I mean, John Warner the fourth kind of puts his father on a pedestal, but listening to that, I'm like, oh yeah, your father was a real, um, social climber and brown noser. And part of the problems what we got in Washington today was because of Senator Warner. And Virginia, ask people that have been through Virginia courts, that's amongst the worst. Arlington, Virginia, I did a court watch there. And there's Judge Newman of Middleburg, who's married to Sheila Johnson. She's the first Black billionaire, and the female billionaire in the United States, and she lives in Middleburg. I mean, and her Judge Newman handled her divorce. Then he married her. Total conflict of interest. Of course, get her all the money because then he gets it. And they're sitting out, oh my God, Middleburg has become a total Loire Valley. And, it's like, you guys, we're all heading towards the guillotine. This was done under the Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. And you guys are pulling the same crap. So, oh, the heat. My blood pressure keeps going down. So, then we've got, okay, again, the Mars family. Candy. I love it. They said, where was this? They're going to dedicate $1 billion investments into the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm like, excuse me, you're promoting candy, you're selling candy around the world, and you're contributing to the increasing, obesity and sugar consumption that's going on out there. Like, and you're claiming to be sustainable and all of this, woke stuff. Like, please. So, and then Bob Kennedy. I mean, I know, I'm sure he's getting all sorts of bureaucratic bullshit in the HHS. And he would just give me a voice and listen to me. God, his campaigners, his little groupies. Oh, and his wife. Piece of work. Well, HHS, I can promise you, HHS is afraid of the protective mothers. So you get us in there and you give us a voice, I promise you we're going to get rid of those goddamn little bureaucrats in that department and clean it up. And let's get HHS, get this country healthy again. But this is going to be more than just getting artificial dyes out of our food. This has to be a huge campaign of, well, first, Cornelia, you shut the frick up about your stupid vegan living with celebrity chefs and get out of the picture. I mean, that girl should be ashamed of herself and she should be sent to next to Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, I'm always like, I'm like, wait a second, you're sticking Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? What about all of these other socialites and sugar babies who are promoting this? And madams who've been promoting this shit for generations. Nothing for them? So, anyway, look, total share of U.S. population with diabetes. It's been increasing. Per capita U.S. healthcare expenditures. What? I mean, sustainability? How is this sustainable? It's not. Um, you know, just donate for people who can't pay their medical bills. I mean, it's a cycle of insanity. So let's see, Mars revenue of 50 billion. Then Mars HUK, the headquarter foundation is 42 million in assets. Mars Wrigley Foundation, 40 million, another 40 million in assets. And then there's a whole slew of other, because same with the Mellon family. You Google that, and there's a whole bunch of different, different members of the family who have their foundation. As I say, some of it is peanuts, 100, 300, 400, 500,000 dollars here and there, which of course, I mean, even pennies add up to $1 eventually. So this is what I was just like, wow, okay, you guys, like, stupid is as stupid does, okay? So I saw somewhere, I said, oh, Pamela Mars, the Mars sisters are alumni of Foxcroft. I hadn't known that. So that was about 2020. And so I contacted Pam Mars, sent her a letter, an email, saying, here I have my Global Expats project. This is, promoting socioeconomic development, sustainable. I mean, basically, it's all the sustainable development goals. There's a link there to the slides, Taking Back America for the People. So I'm like, I mean, the platforms, the website, the networking website for homemakers and trailing spouses, these platforms are costing about $100 million for the company to put the thing together. Usually you'll start with rounds of 20, 30 million, and then it'll increase, but more or less you're looking at a 100 million investment to get things started and up and running, and being able to be competitive with everything else, with the other platforms. I mean, the platforms now, you had a lot when I started in 2006. I mean, you had a lot of platforms that were being produced, MySpace, for example, and that disappeared. So a lot have, so now you're kind of left with the big wigs. And not so many people are trying to penetrate the market against Facebook or LinkedIn or even Twitter. I mean, you've got the Truth Social, but that was just because Trump had the money. See, Trump, give me for the money for that. Give me Truth Social, and you know, I mean, there's things that I'd change on that one, but because I've been looking at the software for 20 years. And I know exactly, I know all the best. No, this is better, that's better. Oh God, where'd you get this archaic bullshit? I mean, from the user side, I know all sorts of stuff about the websites. I just can't, I keep on telling people, just if I want to run a hotel, I don't need to know how to construct one. I need to know how to manage one. So as I said, Mars promises $1 billion to invest in SDGs. So I go to Japan Mars and I'm like, okay, here's my global expat project. I get a letter back saying, we have already, given our charitable donations for the year. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, okay. Well, another proof that what you need is to teach everybody how to read. Because I wasn't asking you for a donation. I was offering you an investment that would make a lot of money. You could get, I'm not saying shut down the fabricas, the factories that are making all of this candy, but start divesting into other companies and try and promote, you know, healthy candy. Yeah, I mean, all of us, particularly, I mean, me with chocolate, and I love chocolate. It's just stop with so much sugar in there, and I like dark chocolate. So try and, as I say, you're not gonna like radically change from one day to another in terms of what you're producing. You can't do that. That would be disastrous for your company. But you can start divesting and coming up with, you know, different chocolate products that don't have so much sugar, or, you know, into different areas. Healthy food, you know, start instead of just cocoa products. Well, we're going to, you know, this or that. There's all sorts of things that they can do to, you know, divest into companies that will be promoting good things for economies and for societies instead of destructive ones. Because this is a huge problem, huge. And this, I've got that in, I think it's in the next slide, where your sugar consumption in the past like 500 years, I mean, it's a huge problem. There's a really good book, Sugar Blues. This was, is that Buckley, William Buckley? I think it was a long time ago. It was like the 40s or 50s, but very good. I mean, he blames everything. He blames even the fall of the Roman Empire on sugar consumption, but makes some very, very good points. So then I turn around. I've been told, no, we're not interested in donating. And then I turn around and I see an announcement from Foxcroft saying that the Mars sisters have just donated 22 million to the STEM, the science, technology, and whatever wing at Foxcroft for these girls. And I'm like, would you teach them how to read and give them some moral compass and some basic decency instead of filling their heads that they're going to be these great scientists? And by the way, the wing is 65 million, and 22 million is just a donation from the Mars. And this, let's see, what was it? The Standard Oil heiress I think it was maybe 10 years back or less, 40 million donation. Uh, that's the Ruth Bedford, I think it was. And you have, oh, you can Google it. There's several other. And then, of course, I mean, there's the Bruce Currier Library. That was when the Bruce Currier, that's from the Mellon family. They died. I forget, it was an accident, the parents. That was in Memorial. Then there's the Firestone Memorial. One of she also died. I forget the exact reasons for that. So, I mean, yeah, Foxcroft, a lot of donations over the years from wealthy women. Well, excuse me, our public education system is in shambles. It is a mess. And our private education system is no better, and they're all gone woke. I mean, Tucker Carlson, I love it. I'm like, come on, Tucker Carlson. I was blacklisted, not only from Foxcroft, but from the IMF as well. I mean, give me a frickin' voice, you people. Tucker Carlson, he got blacklisted from speaking at St. George's. Now, my brother tells me, he went to Woodbury Forest. He tells me that, well, it's normal that I'm being discriminated against and targeted in hate crimes to make up for the sins of the past I'm like, wait a second. Particularly our family, that wasn't the case. Um, I mean, going back hundreds of years, we have all sorts of examples. And my grandfather, he was the first white lawyer to successfully defend a black man in the Deep South, 1910. So, gosh, it's hot here. Sorry. Um, so, like, on being offered up as the sacrificial lamb by the robber baron, Heiresses, when it's like, oh, no, not me. You guys can offer yourselves up. Go ahead and offer yourselves up. Don't offer me up. And then you keep on throwing millions and millions and millions at everybody else to ease your conscience of what you're doing. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. See, this is the deep state, but see the deep state, we're in a loony bin. And I just like one threw over the cuckoo's nest, like the big Indian guy come and break the window and let me out. Um, yeah, okay. So I talked about Bunny Mellon before. Now, Bunny Mellon, she was one of the Capote swans. Here's all of this. Yeah, here she gives the Bunny Mellon finds a mistress. Oh, yeah. So the thing is, with John Edwards, she wouldn't have been too surprised about John Edwards having a mistress because Bunny Mellon, there's two versions of the story that I've seen out there. Because after Paul Mellon's wife died, she died from an asthma attack, and he has two young children. He it talked about in the memoirs of the different people. His father was very abusive, and he had like, how shall I say, security issue, insecurity issues and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, he one version of the story is that he pursued Bunny Mellon and with diamonds because Bunny Mellon and her husband were very good friends of Paul Mellon and Mary Conover, Catherine Conover's mother. And so Mary dies, so he's like pursuing Bunny, and she gets a divorce and then marries Paul. But there's also the version that it was the other way around. So I don't know. But anyway, do not covet the neighbor's wife. So I guess after a couple of years that they're married, apparently, let's say there's just not marital bliss. And Carl Jung is the one who says, well, Paul should take a mistress. I mean, shouldn't you say, well, you guys, maybe you're having some, your consciences are having some problems because, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, and she divorced her husband and married you, and maybe that's where the marital problems are coming from. Um, no, go out and so no, the advice is that she goes out and finds a mistress for her husband. I mean, these are very dysfunctional people, very, very dysfunctional people. And again, the Edward scandal. So here's some, links to all of these different the stories and stuff. And then this is John Warner the Fourth in an interview. Now, John Warner the Fourth, I'm like, because when I saw Tim Mellon is giving the 25 million to RFK and 75 million to Trump, or Bobby's campaign is not listening to me. I told Tim Mellon, I went to Tim Mellon, I sent an email to him, and I'm like, would you tell Bobby Kennedy, bypass the idiots who are working for him and tell him to read the blogs that I prepared and tell him to get rid of a lot of his campaign. Oh God, Del Bigtree. It really, from top to bottom, everybody just perfect example on what not to do and who not to hire in an election campaign. So I loved it because I assume it's Tim Mellon's wife, present wife, because the woman that I spoke with on the phone when I called and I said, I sent an email, would you tell him to read it? She said, well, I'll tell him, but I'm not sure if he will. So I was like, well, okay, fine, whatever. I called. And I said to read it. He's been notified. I mean, with this, I can be like, Mellon Fortune, you people are out of control. Give me all your money and go in your corner and cry. I mean, look. So here, these are the financials for the Andrew Mellon Foundation. And there, yes, we have it, $3 million. Now, there's a link to the key employees because this has changed the list here. And it's definitely more woke. It's a bunch of women, all sorts of different colored women. So I don't even need to look at the profile. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's gone woke. But see, so yeah, see, total assets, 8 billion. I mean, this is ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. So here again, Tim Mellon has donated 3 million to the campaigns. And here's the here's the Mellon family tree. There you go, Mary. And so this we'll get into. Here's Tony Lyons of Skyhorse Publishing. Put this here, the cancel culture, because this is Alan Dershowitz. Oh, Alan Dershowitz is Tony Lyons, I mean, is giving Alan Dershowitz a voice. All of Alan Dershowitz's books are there. He's supposed to be somebody in New York who will, give a voice to people that no one else will. So he's got Woody Allen as one of his clients, RFJ Jr., and of course Alan Dershowitz. And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you about the cancel culture. I mean, that's what the royal family has done to Prince Andrew. I mean, let's talk about it. Okay, so this was with the presidential campaign because I supported Bobby Kennedy's candidacy. His platform was basically what his father was advocating, what his uncle was advocating. Well, very flawed men. I mean, now all sorts of stories are coming out. And yeah, I mean, this is the Kennedy family men, the men in the family that can't keep it zipped. Keep it in your pants, boys. But also, we got to start looking at the Kennedy women what the frick they're doing to their men. And lo and behold, we have the problems of America the Great. Um, you know, like we need not look no further of where our drug addiction problems are coming from. So, I keep on saying, Bobby, he's never going to really get rid of any of his addictions, sex addictions, whatever they are, until he really faces the reality of who and what his mother was, and the entire family. The entire family. I mean, it's a typical Catholic family. Stab everybody in the back, and then give money to charities or do charity work. For example, the handicap charity that they do. I forget which sister did that. JFK and RFK's sister. Um, well, that obviously was to ease the conscience of the family of what would have been done to Rose Kennedy, the lobotomy. That poor child. Um, and yeah, she had behavioral problems, and that also came from her birth. She, the doctor couldn't come, and for some reason, no, don't let the baby out. Well, it damaged the brain. Prenatal care, that's what the family should be like. Oh my God, no. Instead, no, we're going to do all this charity work for handicapped people and then create all sorts of problems. I'm like, wait a second. We have obese people who are in wheelchairs who are getting preferential treatment. And it's like, oh, no, 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 this is just diversity when we're hiring. Well, no, this is upping your healthcare costs. And I'm not saying, well, if you're fat, we're not going to hire you. But my God, no, this country has got to stop that, and it's got to face and start eating healthy and start living healthy. But and again, take that situation and put your efforts towards having good health care for everybody. um, across the board, and prenatal care for, so you don't have that type of situation with Rose. I mean, it was very sad, very, very sad. And that poor girl. I mean, what they did to her was what was really her father. And that was done really behind the mother's back. So anyway, um, so you have, Bobby Kennedy's campaign. I mean, I jumped in on that at the beginning. And in fact, I got fired. That's another thing. I didn't put the link in here. I should have. Um, but I got fired from a job because I was supporting Bobby Kennedy. And I even contacted Morgan and Morgan. You get advertisements all over the place. Morgan and Morgan Law Firm, the best law firm in the United States on torts. Contact them. Blah, blah, blah. So I contact them, and I didn't realize when I spoke with them that Bobby had worked for Morgan and Morgan or worked with them. So I was like, oh, great. So I'm like, well, one of the cases that I have, because I know everybody's, well, that was a long time and statute of limitations. I'm like, no, statute of limitations doesn't apply because this has been ongoing, and I'm going under RICO. This is where also the lawyers need to get a life and not think that they are God, and start listening to the clients and saying, this is what I'm going to argue, this is what I'm going to, what we're going to do, and we'll get somewhere. They don't, well, it wasn't my idea, so we're not doing that. So I speak with Morgan and Morgan, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, one of the cases, the most recent, is Bobby Kennedy. I get fired. Where's the freedom of speech, my protection of freedom of speech, and all of this crap? And I mean, I have I'll put it in the links here, recorded my conversation. And I'm like, what do you mean? No. Oh, I love it when they say, well, just because we're saying that we're not going to take on the case, that doesn't mean that you don't have a case. And I respond, I'm like, I know I have a case. Are you freaking kidding me? I know I have a case. Um, so yeah, I'll put the link there. So, I'm like, are you, and then I'll have to put the links as well to the blogs that I did on, it was the Kennedy Coalition website. This was run by Randy Hines in Las Vegas. Um, so I'm like, well, why are you people not, here I am producing all of these blogs. I even applied for a job with Bobby Kennedy's campaign. So now I got a lawsuit against Bobby Kennedy's campaign for discrimination because I'm like, you're going to have to prove that you guys did a good job with that campaign. And I applied for several positions that I was more than qualified to do. And I'm sure, I don't know if Amaryllis Fox ever saw my resume, but I'm sure if she did, I'm not that little lady anywhere near Bobby Kennedy. I mean, this whole thing of, and this is the whole Shanahan, oh God, that Shanahan disastrous VP pick. I mean, and also she's a foreigner. So that was just a disaster on all sides, his pick there. Um, so, and then I also contacted Tony Lyons because Skyhorse Publishing. I said, oh my God, here. And this is at the very, very beginning. This is April 2024. No, this is April 2023. Um, and I so I contacted Tony Lyons with my book proposal, The Deep State and the Mommy Wars Between the Feminist, the Anti-Feminist, and the Socialite. Never get a response. I'm like, well, what the frick? I'm like, come on, you publish this book, and this is gonna expose a lot of stuff. I mean, I hadn't concentrated on the Kennedy ladies at that point. They really hadn't gotten on my radar because I was with so many different factions, which we'll see. Um, but I was like, Bobby Kennedy will get this in the bag. Publish this book. It'll expose. I'll support Bobby B. It's going to shut up a lot of people who are going to be really embarrassed, if not having legal problems. And his enemies will redirect attention towards the problems of the country that need addressing and stop with the frickin' party politics. I mean, like, I couldn't even, I was like, why am I not even getting a response from Tony Lyons? Um, I even sent, I was getting pissed off then. And so I sent an email to his like assistant or something. And I'm like, well, you guys, I'll see you in court. What the frick are you people doing? Now, I understand, yeah, a publisher, so I don't, this is a prep schools, and I'll be getting into the publishers and their role in all of this, because it is the chicken, what comes first, the chicken or the egg. If you're famous, you get a publisher to publish you, but you become famous if you get a publisher to publish you. And so it's like, well, you can become famous because you become a celebrity journalist, you become an actress, so you got to become famous for a publisher to be interested in you. But then you can become famous because you got your book. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm like, I don't care how many copies this sold. I don't even care if this gets published. I don't care about becoming famous. Believe me, that like, it's like something I really don't want. Um, I'm like that. I've always like, God, why would anybody want that life with people running after them, wanting a piece of them? Leave me in peace. I'm good. Um, I mean, my peace with my children, and I'm good, and enough resources to survive. I mean, you throw me into poverty, I'm not good. Um, so, this gets into like, what are you people doing? Here are all of so this, since nobody, all of Bobby Kennedy's campaign is like shooting themselves in the head. I'm trying to, well, would the press please expose this? Would somebody in the press? I can't believe it. This has got to be great news, great front page news. Bobby Kennedy's entire campaign is a shit show. And I can go into Amaryllis Fox and Del Bigtree, and I don't know who runs the prayer meetings, but oh God, I only had the wherewithal to attend one of those. It does come in on the emails on Sundays, but I'm just like, well, someday maybe I'll go back. But I didn't even get through the whole prayer thing. I was like, oh, please, would you, Bobby, I mean, get your kumbaya people out of there. I mean, you wasted $100 million, totally wasted. And give me a voice and let's kick ass in the HHS. I mean, that's another thing with my father's name and the HHS with all the crap that he got from them. Believe me, I got more than enough to kick their asses. So give me a voice and let's get to it. So that was, like just throwing money around all over the place. Nobody knows what the frick they're doing. They just keep on throwing money here. And Tony Lyons, another thing with Tony Lyons, his wife, who's divorced, um, she is what I know. Is she Norwegian, or I think it was Norwegian, but Nordic, European. Well, okay, is she going to get deported? What's the deal there? Because Tucker Carlson is saying no dual nationals. My whole thing is with all of the expats, if you're here to cash in and get involved with all of these people who are involved in amoral or illegal activity, and it all comes under illegal under RICO, so everybody's fucked. Um, we're going to throw her out. And then what about your two daughters? And one of them is autistic. Yeah, well, okay, let's look into you and your wife, and let's look into autism and Asperger. I mean, quite frankly, with these two, I think I would withdraw from the family as well. So, how much is the autism a function of a dysfunctional couple and a dysfunctional family? So, this whole thing, vaccinations are causing autism. Now, there is definitely stuff there that needs to be looked into. I'm not saying, I got all the answers and this is one thing and it's not the other. It's a whole bunch of different things together. And if you I mean, that was one of the reasons why my father was such a great doctor. And one of the nurses at his memorial service, he said the patient, when if a patient woke up with my father there next to him, they knew they were in trouble, but it was real serious. But they also knew that they would survive because my father was sitting there. Um, God, what was done to him is just, I'll never forget my family. So yeah, anyway, let's, the Mars Inc. Here's a story about the Marjika Mars, the great feminist story, the great woman CEO. Oh yeah, that's all great. And here's this guy, Kevin Rabinovich. Oh Lord, he has learned his lines very well. But I think this, like, conspiracy theorists, maybe we could see if this is an android or a real person. Not quite sure. It's hard to tell with some of these people who have learned their lines. Are they like, are they real or is this a prototype? Now it's no longer NASA, it's Elon Musk that's put out there because he does talk, he looks like a robot and he talks like a robot. Um, so then here's a propaganda video on Mars sustainable in a generation plan. Well, yeah, this is in Ghana. Well, then you have the article, Candy Company Mars uses cocoa harvested by kids in Ghana. Yeah, so they're under investigation um, for children, for child labor and exploiting children. Here's the video of the CBS report. Then, oh, here's another. I didn't get even 1 minute into this, but perfect example. Check this out. They obviously is doing it online. Yeah, this is 2020. Um, and I mean, the experts getting together to chew the fat. I mean, the content, yeah, you can listen to them, blah, 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 blah. It all sounds very, very noble and very, very good. But these things are a dime a dozen, and it's got to stop. I mean, what value added did these people produce? Nothing. Got together, chewed the fat, and then went home. And how much money did they waste with that? Okay, it's online, so relatively inexpensive to before. I mean, go to Davos, the IMF, and World Bank annual and spring meetings. I mean, it's grotesque how much these people are spending to jet set around the world to get on a podium and give speeches together for nothing. Oh, it's good propaganda. Sounds good. All bullshit. I mean, I've been 20 years, 20 years. I can't believe it that I've been doing this. And shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. I'm like, I went to school with you people. I'm not the one who's stupid here. I wasn't stupid then, and no, I'm not the one stupid now. Before you listened to me because you got to pass the class or pass the test because I would help you. Now, since there's no test to pass and you're sitting pretty and it's just stuff in your pockets, well, you just ignore me. So this, well, that was an article about the 1 billion that they're going to give to sustainable development goals. Oh, this I loved. This gave, it's one of these.
I took control, went solo, and built my own online knife empire.
Oh, knife empire.
I loved being
So, the insert, and it shows how all of the fast numbers and how it's changed here up in 2019. These I like these things because it gives a story real quick and really very visually and makes people understand something that you can spend 20 minutes explaining. So here is another, you've got sugar consumption from 1700s, well, whoa, to 2000, and then the obesity prevalence. These trends have got to stop. I mean, we are destroying everybody's health. Here's some obesity. Women, men. Women, well, I mean, just by the fact that we have the babies, I mean, our bodies are made so that we're going to take and guard calories and consume less calories because or sorry, put on more fat just because when we're pregnant. I mean, the child needs more calories. I mean, it just, oof, when I hear about women who didn't want to gain weight when they were pregnant, and you definitely don't want to become obese. That's not good. But women who, there was a friend of my husband's, the wife, I mean, the doctor was even like, "You are having a baby. Now, stop." She was so obsessed, and she was really thin, of not putting on weight, and she'd be swimming and swimming. And it's like, no, you are having a baby. You are supposed to put on weight. Your your baby will be deformed if you don't, have enough calories and enough nutrients to give it. And it'll be deformed for the rest of its life. So, all of this, there's so many things that we have to do um, to make our societies better and reverse these trends. And everybody just keeps throwing good money after bad. Um, so here we get and again with the Foxcroft, backstab and witchery all over the place. So this is Vicky. She was in my class. Coy, she was in my class. There's the conversation with Coy. I mean, I was flabbergasted. I was like, you ladies, you know what's going on. I've been telling you, I'm all over the internet. You just ignore me. I mean, we've got 60,000 women each year who are killed by family members. You don't want to get involved in any unpleasantness. I mean, this really is criminal, criminal, criminal. So yeah, there is Vicky Coy Durham. That's Keisha Knight Pullman. This is uh, Marianne Kuzan, but she's at the executive, but she's from Miss Porter. She went to Miss Porter. Hope Jones. Well, these are the trustees. Um, I'm like, well, Hope, just like my sister, you definitely didn't need to go to Foxcroft to become a cook. Oh, and then, I just saw this with Kim Elting. Let's see if that'll open up. Oh, I didn't go there. Lost it. I don't know why that did that. Well, is it going through a loop? I don't know why. I'll have to check what's wrong there. Um, so, um, the Kim Elting, she she was the top, like three of the top of the company that she's with. It's some sort of has to do with your back, orthopedic or something. So she they were well, she resigned, but the CEO and her and another woman were ousted for apparently some sort of inappropriate behavior. So I'm like, yeah, why does that not surprise me? Now, Kim, she's a year younger than I am. She was in my sister's class. So this is, oh, what's her name? This is another girl that I can't remember. She's a trustee. This is Andrea Reed. She was the class above me, I think. Tanya Butler. She was the class below me, I believe. And I couldn't believe it. She contacted me years and years and years ago, and she was like, "Well, I saw you mentioning my name on the internet. Like, I don't want you mentioning my name." I was like, "Oh, Foxcroft girls, I'm sorry. Suck it up." And hopefully the journalists will someday start contacting you. Freaking they're telling me not to mention her name. Are you kidding? Everything I've been through since I've been back in this city, and all you guys are too busy party hardy to even notice what's freaking going on, and I'm not supposed to mention your name. Oh, I was fit to be tied. I was like, screw you, bitch. I'm going to be mentioning your name for a long time to come. And I want to, because she's DC and DC government. So I want some explanations from her because the DC local government is a shit show. And this is from the Kennedy family. The only Kennedys that I know of that went to Foxcroft, that's Sydney Kennedy Lawford McKelvey. So her father was Peter Lawford. He was a famous actor. I saw, oh, it was so sad. He died at 61, like with nobody. So yeah, definitely he was estranged from even his children. I'm not sure what the story is there, but I mean, you go through all of these families. This is not like something to aspire. These lifestyles. This is very, very self-destructive. So yeah, there's Phyllis Chesler with the Women's Inhumanity to Women, but yeah, backstabbing witchery is alive and good. Um, so this again, it was Tucker Carlson, The Courageous Conversation. Okay, so well, it's Foxcroft's Courageous Conversation. He had said he wanted to speak at the school, but so this is another beef with Foxcroft was that I saw in 2020, I think, that they were having a courageous conversation. I didn't know what a courageous conversation was all about. I just saw it in my emails, Foxcroft Courageous Conversations. And I contacted him. I said, well, yeah, I'd like to speak at your courageous conversation. I mean, I've been back for how many years in Washington, an hour away from Foxcroft, and I can barely keep a roof over my head. I'm getting, targeted in hate crimes right and left. I have no rights. Nobody will defend me. I mean, and not only do I get it in my place of work, but I've had it where I'm living in the shitholes I'm living. I mean, you're charging $70,000 a year at Foxcroft with guarantees of success in life, and I'm living like this in Washington. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? So I was like, sure, I want to, yes, definitely, I'll speak at the Courageous Conversation. So I get an email. I mean, okay, they didn't say it outright, just like with Tucker Carlson. They're not going to. They're smart enough to know they're looking at some legal liabilities. So, um, I when I contact them, I get it, from those women. I can't remember if they were black or not, but then I get directed to some white girls saying any further contact should be with these women. I was like, what? What's going on? I was like, eesh. You know, I'm trying to get somebody in Washington to start moving their ass. So I don't know what your games are, but I don't have time for it. So then I find this on Facebook. So this is July 10th, 2020, a message from the head of the school, who is Kathy McGee. This summer, many of you have been sharing your painful experiences with racism at Foxcroft. Your stories on this alumni forum and in our courageous conversations are powerful and are helping us have a more complete understanding of our school community and where we have failed to live fully up to our values and our promises. To our values. Recently, I mean, what's this? They always throw that into to our values. What are your values? Backstabbing witchery? I mean, like, define your values. Because they throw that in all the time. Let's see. Recently, some of our young alumni and students have been sharing their voices. Oh, it says in Seymour. So I loved this. But also, I go into who are these people posting this? And this Olivia Rogerson, it's like, who are you? Where are you coming from? One was like from Ukraine or something. It's just bizarre. who are these people? Oh, and goes, yeah, I mean, Facebook, they're involved in all sorts of, how shall I say, unkosher things. Okay. Olivia Rogers said, this isn't even just about racism, though. This fight is about everyone who has been treated unfairly, whether that be because of race, sexuality, religion, etc. All you people see is a response. What I see is a recent alumni, is a HOS, I don't know what that is, attempting to pacify, see more. Um, but I was like, yeah, I definitely agree. You can, there's the link there for this posting. But I agree. Oh, and then there was another one that said get rid of, let's see. Oh, where was that? Oh, I am deeply saddened as an alumni of Foxcroft to see the administration continue to handle such serious allegations with such disregard for the students. Um, yeah. Oh, I would like to see the school take immediate action in firing Emily Johns and then consider replacing head of school as well. Because also when I heard Kathy McGee, because when I got blacklisted from the Courageous Conversation, of course, I sent an email to Kathy McGee. She just ignored me, as did the trustees. I mean, ignore them till they go away. Just ignore them till they go away. These are the schools that are producing the future leaders of our country. Yeah, what's wrong with this picture? So I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is where the thing came from. But see, this is this is a perfect example in how they're turning this, obviously there's some problems, but the problem is bullying. It's not racism. It's just bullying across the board. And then what they do is they, you know, turn it around and use it as, oh, well, no, this is a racial problem rather than a behavioral problem of everybody. Um, that's, it's typical. And then, of course, the people who put together these courageous conversations, oh, because this is a whole, they got it all down to a science, um, make lots of money off of this. So 2 weeks ago, many of our students, alumni, parents, and employees came together for courageous conversation about systemic racism in our nation, our communities, and our schools, and about how this issue affects members of Foxcroft's community. I'm like, yeah, I'm claiming racism against whites, but I'm unsilenced because I represent white privilege. I mean, it's just crazy. Okay, faculty facilitated by our student leaders, meeting attendees share their personal stories as students at Foxcroft, and they shared ideas for change. Yeah, while silencing me. So anyway, summary. In 2016-17, the Board of Trustees adopted a diversity and inclusion mission and philosophy statement upon the recommendation of a diversity and inclusion board task. Now, remind you, I've been back in Washington since 2009. And all of the Foxcroft people know I've been here, and I'm all over the internet, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Nobody can say that they didn't know. So here, Foxcroft, their assets, it's 168 million. They spend 19, almost 20 million per year. I mean, when I was there, this is 200 students. It's a lot of money per student. I mean, how many children could you educate with that money in the public educational system? This is ridiculous, ridiculous. And it's all, I mean, these places are country clubs. And that's precisely the boards. Oh, we get to have another party. We get to fly up to Washington and go and hang out for a weekend or a week at Foxcroft and Middleburg and schmooze and cruise with all of our former classmates. Oh, and then I loved it. I did a Google search under Foxcroft and the Sustainable Development Goals. This is what it brought up. So, see, they're very, very, very politically correct, but they're leading the country off a cliff, the old guard and the new guard. So, this is a list they gave I mean, I can't even afford, I'd have to rent a car to get out there. Are you kidding? I can't afford that. And also what? To be condescended to and given some sort of sympathy bullshit and spend a very uncomfortable weekend. I would be like pay for a hotel room. Yeah, that's not happening. So again, I've been back here in Washington, and Washington, D.C. was created in 1790 to serve the American people, not to become a playground for a bunch of frat boys and sorority sisters. So, anyway, here are the alumni that, spoke during this alumni association dinner. That was the Thursday evening. So that would have been recently. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. These are the people who are given a voice. Well, I am totally, because they all agree on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Oh, belonging, that's a new one. Thank you. Everybody who is willing to drink and pass out the Kool-Aid. But if you dissent, oh, they are draconian and in their cancel culture. And this, of course, for example, when they were interviewing, that was on Zoom, so I was able to connect into that. I only saw one of the people that they interviewed. It was a Black woman for the position of head of school because Kathy McGee retired. And one of the questions that they asked the candidate was about suicides and what she proposed to do about the problems of suicide. Because obviously, this is something that these schools have dealt with for quite a long time. You saw that, the Dead Poets Society. I saw that one. So anyway, yeah, May 2024, a teen died by suicide. Is his prep school to blame? 2023, boarding school students reveal pressure cooker conditions after string of suicides. No rest, no peace. May 2023, after students' suicide, an elite school says it fell tragically short. 2018, I sent my baby there to learn. Mother of 12-year-old girl found dead at DC school speaks. 2014, at Harvard Westlake, 4 students, 2 alumni, and 1 parent have taken their own lives. A group suicide? Let's see. 2022, Italian parents sue New York boarding school where son died by suicide. So, this is a serious issue. And it's not going to be resolved by turning a blind eye to what's going on and hiring yet another diversity and inclusion expert to solve your problems. So, okay, here there's a couple of alumni, because, you can go through all of the different notable alumni, and there's all these, everyone is a piece of the puzzle. But okay, so there's Deb of the Decade, Cornelia Guest. See, it's the luxury, elite living that Cornelia has been promoting, and laissez-faire Marie Antoinette, governance from high society, which Cornelia has been promoting since the 1980s. That has been the motor behind the narcissism epidemic. So I want to see her in court. I've sent her several letters. And that's another thing. I mean, when we were at Foxcroft, I remember rumors that she had an incestuous relationship with her brother. Now, I have no idea if that's true. I thought at the time, I was like, my God, if that's true, like, like they, their world is so bad that the only people that they trust and become intimate with is their own sibling. Um, if it is true, and if it's not true, what a little bunch of bitches to be making up these stories. I mean, either way, it wasn't a good situation. I was like, my God. I felt sorry for her because I was just like, whoa, what's going on there? I mean, that I find just very bizarre. Yeah, very bizarre. So anyway, then they're Sidney Lawford McKelvey, because of course, not only is she of the Kennedy family and all the problems there, but also her father, Peter Lawford, was one of the Rat Pack of Hollywood. So she's also got her foot in the whole thing in Hollywood. Now, what the frick's she doing? No, she's too busy sitting here. See her four sons. Oh, ha, 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 living the good life while the world goes to hell. I mean, I would do anything to be with my sons. Backstabbing witches. Okay, and so this is the creme de la creme. Jennifer Clayshaw Wilder. Wilder is her married name. She is the daughter of Congressman Clay Shaw. I didn't put that in there. He's Republican Florida. Now, he was author of the 1985 Missing Child Act. Now, that gave rise to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is more effective in exploiting and promoting pedophilia, exploiting children and pedophilia, than protecting children. And we all know it. They need to be investigated big time, big time. So, what does everybody do? So, the person who started the Missing Person Center for Missing and Exploited Children, he started the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Along with that was started by him and Lady Catherine Meyer. Yeah, after her divorce, yeah, with her skinny, I mean, there's even an article about this, how she uses her sexy legs to seduce the ambassador, the British ambassador, um, Meyer, and she ends up marrying the guy. And she's the one who does the whole Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Once again, these are things that are being used, um, for people to jet set around the world, party hardy, and give speeches. All expense paid vacations. They do have to give a speech every once in a while. I mean, but it is, you get together to the fat to the butt. It's no different than going to the local country club and chewing the fat with these people. Same conversation, same bullshit. Um, so there's the problem is 70% of sexually and physically abused children are being handed over to abusers, 90% in cases of psychological abuse. This is a global problem. So, of course, let's say you've got my case. You have the children in one country who are being abused. It's being covered up by the courts. So, what is the mother doing? The protective parent, because sometimes this is the father. who is the protective parent. The mother is the abuser. So what is the protective parent to do? Take their child and run. Leave the country. You're out of the jurisdiction. Ah, no. Then you get arrested for international child abduction. Um, and this is where you've got the Hague Convention on International Child Abduction. So we can address the problem of these parents who are kidnapping their own children and taking them and alienating them from the other parent. Well, since we don't know what's going on at the national level in the courts, they don't look at whether the rights of litigants are being abused in any of the court system. All they look at is who has jurisdiction of this case. For example, in my case, I loved it. One of the people from the State Department condescendingly told me, "Oh, lady, Spain, they're backwards. They're not progressive like the United States. So, and there's really nothing that we can do. We have to follow their laws." I said, "You idiot. First off, their constitution is 200 years older than the American one, and it's very much better. I am not, and don't even try and take me out of that jurisdiction, because I am in Spanish jurisdiction, and that's where I'm going to stay with my case, and I'm going to take those assholes to the international courts, and we're going to work it out there. So don't even try and take me out of that jurisdiction, because what I've done in Spain in arguing all of this, I wouldn't have been able to do with the American system. So screw you on that one." And like this, "Oh, we can't go against their laws." I'm telling you to uphold their laws, you asshole. So, like, just there's no defense from the embassies, or in this case, the State Departments, the ministries, the foreign ministries of countries around the world. There's no excuse. You assholes, you get on this. If the rights of your citizens are being violated in a country, well, you get on top of it and you make sure that you're up there wazoozy and make sure that it doesn't happen. Because not only will it help your citizens in that country, it'll help everybody address these problems. Since this is happening in cross-border context, we have the opportunity for cross-border cooperation. Well, stop cooperating with the pedophiles. Well, that's what you're doing. So, okay. So then, since this is creating a problem, because of course, the Hague Convention, no, arrest, it's in this jurisdiction. She fled with the child, arrest the woman and throw her in jail and send the children back to the abuser. Obviously, that's creating some problems. So what did they do? This was over at Berkeley. It was an Indian woman and a man, a psychologist. You click here and it sends you over. Now it's on this with the State Department, this thing. But I looked into that and I was like, you assholes. You have all of this. I mean, I don't even know what they're doing. They get together and give a bunch of speeches. I'm like, okay, you guys are going to have to explain yourself as well. Get this into an international court, get this into a court of law, and everybody explain yourself what the frick you are doing. And this is how this is just counterproductive, and nobody is just, "Oh, let's start another nonprofit. Oh, let's start another, we're an expert. We're going to solve these problems." I mean, the Hague Domestic Violence Project, that gets my blood boiling. And I contacted something Shetty. I sent several emails. That's in is that the family? Yeah, that's the family court and crisis newsletters that I did 2013, 2014. That's, yeah, here it is, Family Court and Crisis newsletter. That goes into everything, explains everything. And here you have some other reports that I did about the problems in the courts, and this particularly is from a human rights perspective. So, all of these organizations need to be investigated, and this is crazy. Now, I mean, Jen, at least I thought we were friends, um, and she was at the debutante party as well with me. As her sister was in that as well, Mimi. Her sister didn't go to Foxcroft. But here is her father. This is the typical. Here is her father, who was the author of this bill, and you know, no, she doesn't want to be involved in any unpleasantness. I contacted her in 2007. I contacted her as well. I sent her a letter. Never heard back from her. Um, saying, could you please ask your father to pick up the phone and tell the consulate in Madrid to do its job? And you get up the wazoozy of my lawyers and they won't pull this crap. Nobody wants to get involved. I don't want to get involved. I even called her one time years ago and I spoke with her daughter, but she wouldn't get on the phone. So screw her. I want to see her in court. And really, I mean, we're talking about millions of women and children who are trafficked, millions of people who have died. This is not just like, oh gosh, yeah, it's a shame. Oh, and she just retired from her job she worked at after 15 years of service. Yeah, well, I've been back in the States for 15 years. Well, she's been cashing in DeLand, Florida, with Parks and Recreation and living the good life. I've been here in Washington trying to fix the problems her father helped create. So this is a guy who Ian Carroll. He does some really good a podcaster. So anyway, that's something that you can listen to. I forget exactly what that video has in it off the top of my head. Sorry. It's really hot and my blood pressure is going down. So um here again, here's the notable alumni from Wikipedia. I have added in a few people in here. But again, what are these schools for? To charge exorbitant fees, produce a country club for these kids, and make them all feel entitled. Yeah, you have some of them are successful. Oh, here's one that I added. Lee Topping Brady. She is the daughter-in-law of Secretary of Treasury Nicholas Brady, architect of the Brady bonds of Latin America. Well, he should be all interested in all the work that I've been doing in exposing what's going on at the World Bank and the IMF and the problems the Brady bonds have created. I know. See, that's once again the congressional members and the politicians who come, they cash in, they do whatever, and then they go away. And well, oops, if things don't work out, so what? It's in the past. Here are others that, as I say, to go into oh God, I could spend a week, hours and hours and hours of video going into each one of these people and putting together. I mean, there you really do need a huge kind of family tree thing that shows all of the connection. That I do need some techie liberal to put together some sort of technology where we can trace all of that. It would be easy to put together, particularly with like ancestry.com and stuff that I've been doing there, and really get a full picture of how all of these networks are interacting to create. This is the deep state. This is really the deep state. And start calling out these people. I mean, okay, you're not going to throw all of them in jail, but you start embarrassing enough of them and be like, who do you think you are? Like with Jen Shaw, I mean, that I just is unpardonable. And Cornelia as well. There's a lot of them. Maria Flor Miller, she was in my sister's class a year behind me. Well, her mother, that's her grandmother actually, Flora Payne Whitney. I mean, grande dame. What has the Whitney family done? The Vanderbilts, all of them. So that's the end of Foxcroft, and was the kind of the case study with the Mellons and the Mars family. But again, gosh, I can go into all sorts of different families, and I am on Ancestry putting these slowly together. I mean, Anne Armstrong is somebody very interesting. She was originally from New Orleans. So again, as I say, it's really interesting. Historians, where are you? It's not just about who invaded who. It's about how all of these people have been interconnected and been working together or against each other for several generations to create this shit show. That's where your deep state is. Okay, so we're almost 2 hours. So that's the deep state. That's why I have the fox here. Oh gosh, sorry, I have no money, so this is the cheapest computer that actually has some memory, and the optics obviously are not very good. So that's why you see my resolution so bad. But I did like the little fox. Yeah. I thought that was funny. Okay, so have a nice evening.